Good morning, students. Welcome back again. Right, we were discussing chapter number 16, that is economic liberalization and globalization. Right, we have discussed three important topics in the first part of chapter number 16, that is economic liberalization. We have seen the advantages and disadvantages of what are the liberalizations that are being done at the economic level. Second point that we have discussed is privatization. What are the methods of privatization, how privatization has been done, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. And the third topic that we did yesterday was globalization. What is globalization? Going or making trade or exchange of goods and services at the global level or at the international level, right? That is known as globalization, right? We have seen the effects. What are the effects of globalization? And we have also seen the advantages and disadvantages of globalization, right? I hope all these three important concepts of chapter number 16 are clear, right? These are the three important concepts on which our Indian economy is based on, or we can say our economic development is based on, right? So it is very important to understand these three concepts with its advantages and with its disadvantages. Today we are going to discuss three new topics. Again, we are going to discuss three new topics of this chapter. We are going to learn something new, right? We have already seen, that is liberalization, making everything at a very easy stage, or the products or goods or services that are available at a very easy manner or an easy way, right? How these goods and services are being there, how they are being managed, what are the rules, what are the regulations of import and export, that is all how it is done. And who does it? That is WTO, World Trade Organization. It is the main function to carry out the trade activities at the global level. At the global level, how it is been done, what are the ways, what are the policies, what is the actual objective, what are the functions of WTO, we are going to learn today. The second topic that we are going to discuss is impacts on Indian economy, right? We have our own economic system, and what are the impacts that we have because of WTO? What are the benefits that we are getting as we are the member of WTO since the beginning? So what are the positive impacts that we have on our Indian economy due to WTO, that is World Trade Organization? That is also we are going to learn today. Third topic that is we are going to learn is sustainable development. What is a sustainable development, right? As India is a very fast developing country, right? We are getting all the things very rapidly at our doorsteps, right? So we are moving in the path of development. But what kind of development? The development should be sustainable. What it is, we are going to learn today, right? Take out your textbook. That is page number 129, the last topic of your textbook, of page number 129, right? WTO. World Trade Organization was established on 1st January 1995. Please underline that statement. World Trade Organization was established on 1st January 1995 by the member nations of United Nations, by the members of United Nations, right? That was been established on 1st January 1995. Its headquarters is located in Geneva, that is in Switzerland. That is in Switzerland. The headquarters, or we can say the head office, is located in Switzerland, right? Again, underline that statement. Its objective are as follows. Right now you know that the WTO was been established on which date? That is 1st January 1995, and where its head office is? In Switzerland, that is in Geneva, right? So you must remember this. This can be asked in an MCQ, or this can be asked in a true or false, right? So you must remember these points. Now moving towards the next topic, that is the objectives. What are the objectives of WTO? What is the actual main thing, or we can say the main objective of WTO, right? Point number one: to remove obstacles influencing global trading. There are many obstacles, there are many rules and regulations of each and every country which makes or which stops, a kind of proper flowing of goods and services at the international level. So the WTO is, that is, it removes the obstacle. They have the power to remove the obstacle if it gives benefit for both the countries in terms of import and export of goods and services. Please make a note, WTO is only concerned with trade activities. Is only concerned with trade activities that are being done at the international level or at the global level in terms of only goods and services. In terms of only goods and services. That is their main objective. So if any countries are having problems because of the rules and regulations or because of the constitution laws that they have, WTO works as a mediator and it removes the obstacles and makes the trade possible. Right? Point number two: to remove protection policy given to the industries of country for foreign trade. There are many protection policies which are being there at the international level or at the foreign level, and they'll give the country the permission for trading activities. They'll give the permission for the industries for trading activities. They have the power to make all the things possible in the terms of trading. They have the power to make even rules also. They have the power to give suggestions to the countries also related to their laws in the terms of import and export, right? So they have the power to remove the protection policies of the foreign countries also, which are related only to trade, right? So that is the second objective. Third one: to coordinate with global trade policy and economic policy. Coordination is one of the most important objective, we can say, of WTO, right? At the global level, that is the global trade policy and the economic policy. Whose economic policy? Economic policy of different countries. They have their different economic policies. So what does they do? When they meet at the international level, they coordinate the trade activity in such a way, they make the formulation of the laws in such a way that the trade activity can be done very easily. They work as a coordinator between two countries in the terms of goods and services. That is the trading system, right? So that is the third objective. Fourth objective: to solve the trade related disputes arising in the world. There are many small and big issues happening in the world, right, related to the trade at the international level. There are more than 195 countries in this world. So every country has their own law, every country has their own rules and regulations regarding import and export. So there might be or there will be big and small problems every day occurring in the terms of business, occurring in the terms of trade. So they have the power to solve the trade related issues, in the terms of import and export, right? Next, these are the main objectives of WTO. Moving towards the same further concept, that is the functions. What are the functions of WTO? What work does actually WTO does? What are the functions of WTO? Right? Number one: to set up a required structure, for implementation of agreement for implementation of agreement. They make agreements of two countries. So they set up a structure, a system in such a way that no country will have the problem in the terms of import and export, right? So they set up a structure for implementation of agreement related to multinational trade and agreements related to it. Whatever the multinational trades are going to happen of different products with different price. So as the products are different, the prices are also going to be different, right? So they make an agreement previously, they settle it on the grounds, right? And then they make the implications of the trading system so that no problems will arise between two countries which are making trade possible. This is the main function of WTO, right? Second point, World Trade Organization plays a vital role for debate and negotiations for multinational trade. As we are talking about the multinational trade, there will be always an pressure in the terms of negotiations, in the terms and in the or we can say in the terms, or we can say in the favor of negotiations. Each country wants maximum profit out of their product, so they'll always try to bargain, to negotiate with the other countries. So WTO works as a mediator and settle it out in such a way that both the countries will get the benefit. Both the countries will get the benefit. They will negotiate in such a way that no country will suffer any kind of loss in terms of import and export, right? Every country wants their country, their product to be developed, to be available constantly in the market. So they will always put more pressure in the terms of export rather than import. So what does WTO does over here? It settles on the neutral ground and makes such kind of implications, makes such kind of implementations of agreements that both the countries will get the benefit, right? So this is again a function of WTO. Third point, WTO encourages unbiased international trade. They are never biased towards a particular country. They'll always be on an equal level. They'll judge each and every country. They'll make the laws of each and every country where trading activity happens, and each and every country, right, gets the benefit, right? So they are always unbiased. They'll make the laws in such a way which is related only to trading system, right? They'll make the applications or implementation of laws in such a way that it will not create any bias system. They'll be unbiased in the terms of trading activity, and they'll try to sort out the minor and major problems of each and every country, that both the countries get the benefit or both the countries get the advantage. They'll try to make out a way in such a way that no country suffers any kind of loss in the terms of economic development, right? This is one of the most important functions of WTO. And the last one, different nations follow their own national policy. That is always going to happen, right? Every country has its own different national policies. It observes them. Who observes them? WTO. It observes them and suggests required improvements. If there are any kind of suggestions which are to be given to the different nations related to the laws of import and export, related to the laws of production, right, related to any kind of industrial factors or other sectors of the particular industry, they'll suggest different kind of laws to each and every nation. Why they'll suggest? So that the better business activity can be done, improvements of products can be done, quality products can be produced, easy exchange of goods and services can be done at the global level, right? So they even observe each and everything, and they even suggest, try to change the laws, try to implement different kind of laws, so that the better economic development can be done, right? So these are the main four objectives and four functions of WTO. I hope the concept is clear. WTO, World Trade Organization, established on 1st January 1995, and where is its headquarters? That is in Switzerland, that is Geneva. There are four objectives and there are four functions of WTO, right? I hope the concept is clear. Moving towards the second topic for today, that is impact on Indian economy. What is the actual impact on Indian economy because of WTO? Look into the textbook. India is a member of this WTO since its inception. Inception means since its starting. That means we are the member of WTO since 1st January 1995. So what will be the impact of this organization on India, or which type of benefits would India acquire, are discussed below. Point number 1. India's contribution to the world trade was 0.5%. At the initial level, when we started the trading activities at the global level, our total contribution in the terms of global trade was 0.5%. Was 0.5%, right? And our export have increased tremendously, due to which the increase in international trade, and as a result of it, India's contribution to the world trade has increased to 1%. Previously it was 0.5%, but as the number of export has been increased, it has increased the trade from 0.5 to 1%, right? Point number 2. Being a member of WTO, export of ready-made clothes of our country has increased. What is the major thing that we are exporting to the other countries at the international or global level? That is export of ready-made clothes. Export of ready-made clothes, that has increased because of this benefit, that is the benefit of WTO that we are getting, right? So our export of ready-made clothes has increased. Point number 3. As the member of WTO, India has been able to increase export of its agro product also. The second important factor that we are exporting at the global level is the agro products. Two major things that we are exporting at the global level. One is the ready-made clothes that we are exporting to different countries of the world, and the second is the agro product. That we are exporting on a huge level at the international stages, right? Point number 4. Due to increase in export, pressure on import has reduced. As we are exporting at a higher level, the pressure of import has been reduced, right? We don't need to buy the things which are coming from foreign countries, right? We are exporting the products in such a way that means we are developing very stronger. When the export can be done, actually when each and everything is available in different states of our country. So when every product is available, rather than importing, we'll be focusing on exporting, right? So the imports have been reduced and foreign investment has increased in the terms of foreign exchange also, right? As we are exporting the goods, we are getting the benefits in the terms of foreign valuation of money. So that is again a benefit that we are getting, right? Thus, as a member of WTO, India will not only get the above mentioned benefits, but also has to comply with some conditions. it is especially dependent on how fast India increases its infrastructure facilities. We are lacking in the terms of infrastructure facilities. So every country is watching or keeping an eye on our country in the terms of infrastructure facilities. Alright, so they are watching that when India will be developed in the terms of infrastructure facilities, so that the exports can be done of infrastructure also. Right, different systems we are using, and we need to even export those facilities also at the global level. Right, it's infrastructure facilities and how developed countries treat India. We are slightly lacking behind in the terms of different facilities. Right, so that are the things that we need to import from them, and they are keeping that whether India is developing in the terms of infrastructure facilities, yes or no. And if they are actually developing, they'll become self-reliant. They'll become self-reliant. That means they don't require any other country in the terms of import. Every country produces some or the other thing, right? So they don't require any kind of import, right? And this process is slowly and steadily happening in our country. That is why India is a developing country. India is a developing country. There are certain drawbacks which doesn't allow our nation to reach at the developed level, right? But we are developing very fast. Maybe today or maybe tomorrow, we obviously are going to be a developed nation, one of the greatest developed nation, right? And we have proved this developing concept that in this era, that is today, of this coronavirus, right? Minimum cases in India are found compared to other countries of the world, right? There are lakhs of cases happening in other countries of the world, right? Compared to that cases, we are very much stronger. We are very much stronger. This is one of the best examples that we have proven today, right? So these are the things. Foreign investments, other countries, they want to trade with us. They are always keeping an eye on us, right? And this is the thing in the terms of infrastructure facilities that we have to develop, right? So we would be developing on a very fast scale, right? These are the particular impacts of Indian economy, right? Moving towards the last topic, that is sustainable development, right? We have seen two topics today. First is WTO, that is the World Trade Organization, its functions and its objectives. That I hope that concept is clear. The second topic that we did is impacts on Indian economy. What are the impacts on the Indian economy? And the third thing and the final topic for today is sustainable development. What is a sustainable development? Sustainable development in simple terms means providing the basic necessities, fulfilling the dreams of the present generations without compromising the needs of future generations. That is known as sustainable development. I hope you understand what I have said, right? We need to fulfill the needs of the present generation. You know what are your needs, how fast we are changing, how fast the technology is changing, how fast the environment is changing. We are moving on a very rapid scale, right? So as we are moving very fast, our needs and wants are also changing, right? But we should always consider the future generation also. So if we fulfill each and everything for the present generation, what the future generation is going to do? That is a question mark. So what is unsustainable development? Means a kind of development which fulfill the needs of the present generation and those next generation, that is the future generation, they don't have to compromise for anything. And when we keep a balance between these two things, That is known as a sustainable development. I hope the concept of sustainable development is clear, right? Look into the textbook what it says. According to the definition of sustainable development is the development which meets the needs of present generation without compromising with the ability of future generations, without compromising the needs of future generations to meet their own needs. Underline that particular line, right? Which is given in double inverted comma. Thus, the idea of sustainable development developed because of extreme effects on nature. We are moving on a very fast scale. The nature, the environment is also changing. And we are seeing the changes that are happening in the environment. Maybe in the terms of season, right? Maybe in the terms of nature, maybe in the terms of destruction, afforestation, deforestation, everything is happening very fast, right? Look at this virus, it came very suddenly and everything changed, right? We need to change our lifestyle according to the environment. Have you ever thought that you will be learning online? Now it is possible, or it is a part of your life. You accepted it very fastly. This is what is called an environment. It, we cannot see, but we can feel that there are many changes occurring after a few years. I'll give you your example. Look at yourself before 5-10 years back and look at yourself right now. Do you find a change? That is also a part of change in your life. How did it change? Because of the environment and the circumstances that are around yourself, around your society, around your needs and wants. As you are individual, there are people living in this society. So everyone has different needs and wants. And they try to fulfill their needs and wants. It leads to a change in environment. Right? Everything is changing very fast. That is what a change in environment is. It is not the physical environment that we see in the terms of monsoon, summer or winter. Environment means everything from our own need to the needs of the people at the international level. Every want is different, every need is different. Right? I gave you one example before few sessions back. Right? A person who is earning 1 lakh rupees per month, the needs and want would be different. A person who is earning 5,000 per month, the needs and want will be different. This is what it is. This is how it is. Right? There are billions of people in this world whose needs and wants are different, and they want their needs to be fulfilled anyhow, and that affects the environment. That affects the environment. So we should make the environment in such a way, or rather than that, we should say that we should develop our nation in such a way that it should be sustainable. That it should be sustainable. The needs of the present era should be fulfilled without compromising the needs of the future generations. Right? That is the actual sustainable development. Next. Thus, the idea of development developed because of extreme effects on nature, near human habitation and man-created cover the environment. The way and the speed with which present generation is developing, it cannot be maintained in the future. The way the present generation is, moving very fast, right? The needs of the future generation cannot be fulfilled. It is getting difficult and difficult to fulfill the needs of future generations, as the needs and demands are constantly increasing. Right? That is why I have just said that we need to be very selective while we buy a product from the market. We should buy a product from the market which gives the maximum benefit and a sense of satisfaction of buying a product, right? Because the resources that are available are always limited, It may be a kind of luxurious good for you, or it may be a kind of a particular materialistic thing for you. And when you buy that thing, you are taking away the things whose other people actually require it. Right? There are many people who require that thing rather than you require it. You may be buying because of your fantasy, because of your luxurious standard of living, right? And you don't value that product. But there are actually people who require that product. And when you buy that product becomes scarce in the market, as the resources are limited, and the actual people who are in need of that product will not get that product. As this present generation is moving very fast, so we need to be very selective. And as we'll be selective, it would give the benefit to the future generations. It would give the benefit to the future generations, right? Because we are moving on a very fast scale, right? The needs and the demands have been fulfilled very easily, right? So if everything would be done for the present generation, what would be for the next generation, that is the future generation? Can we fulfill the demands of the future generations? That is again a question mark. So rather than focusing or discussing those kind of problems that are going to happen in future, if we plan our needs and our wants, right, we can create a sustainable development. We can create a sustainable development, right? Next, there is a fear that luxuries which present generation is enjoying may not be there for the future generations. That would be the problem, right? Next, there is a tremendous decrease in natural resources. As I have said, the resources are always limited. So there is a decrease in natural resources due to economic development, and their quality is also deteriorating. That means the quality is decreasing. As the resources are limited and the number of users are more, the quality is decreasing, right? In this condition, there is a need to change the idea of development. An idea of sustainable development is studied because of present development and effects of it on the environment. This idea is developed because we need to conserve the environment. We need to protect the environment, right? If we don't think of the environment, of the nature, of the things which are available in the market, we can satisfy our needs, right? But what about the next generation? Would we able to give all the needs that they actually require? We don't know. So rather than going to that situation or occurring that situation to happen in future, we should create a kind of development which is sustainable, so that the present generation enjoys the benefit as well as the future generation, right? This is known as actual sustainable development. I hope the concept is clear, right? We have discussed 3 topics today. The first one, that is the WTO, World Trade Organizations, the objectives and the different functions that they does at the international or the global level, right? The second point is the impacts on Indian economy. What are the different impacts that we have on our economic system because of WTO? And the third is, that is sustainable development, fulfilling the needs of present generation without compromising the needs of future generations. That is known as sustainable development, right? I hope all the 3 concepts are clear. Please make a note of these 3 points, right? Thank you.